Is there any way back for Salah after this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously there's definitely a way back. I mean, he's got to get back in the team. I mean, first and foremost, that's got to be his aim. I know he's got AFCON coming up, so, you know, he's going to miss games anyway. But, you know, yeah, I mean, look, there's a way back. I think I'm really disappointed in him, you know, because I think he is on a pedestal of one of the greatest Premier League players ever, ultra professional. You know, he has carried that team for a long time. But, you know, to come out and say what he said, it was just remarkable. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, mate, calm down. You've been dropped for a few games. Like, you haven't performed this season. You know, was there any need to come out and completely blow the whole club into, you know, a massive scrutiny? Everyone's talking about it. It's been everywhere. And I just think, was there any need for him to do that? And
what's he trying to achieve?
Well, I think he's trying to let everyone know that he's not happy. I think what he's trying to achieve is the fact that he says he's been made promises. Well, no one gets promised as a football player that you're going to start every game. Like, that's not a promise that gets made. That's absolute rubbish. You know, so at the end of the day, if you don't perform, you're out the team. I think what he's trying to get at is he's trying to let everyone know that he's not happy with the manager. He's not happy with the way it's going. You know, and he's not happy that probably one of the greatest players ever at Liverpool is being left out. But, you know, and
is that a way to get back in the team, though? To publicly challenge your manager like that?
No, of course it doesn't. I mean, it always that never works. I mean, that's never the way to go. But the players now are so powerful, you know, and you know, it used to be back in the day, you know, manager would have his say, manager would do his thing, and you had to accept it, you had to deal with it. Now, players have a voice. Players are more powerful than the manager. And I think Salah probably is a very powerful person at Liverpool. And if he comes out and says something, everyone takes up and listens to what he's got to say. But I think it's a scandalous interview. I think he's bang out of order to saying what he said. You know, the club is struggling at the moment. They need their top players and their leaders to be, you know, united together in turning this club back around and getting them back into winning ways. He talks about having credit in the bank. There's no credit in the bank when you play football. Like, that's the industry. You perform, that's what we're paying you for. He's on 400, 500 grand a week, whatever he's on. You are paid to perform for Liverpool. He hasn't performed this season. Question marks over why he's not performed, whether it's the tactics, the way they play, whether it's because of Trent, they miss him. Regardless, you haven't performed. The manager's decided to leave you out. If he wants to leave you out, that's up to him. Deal with it and get yourself back in the team.
But this is quite interesting. Tom, you can read the graphic there. It said, whatever happens in the four walls of the club should stay in there. I demand a public apology from Salah today, or the poster on my wall will be ripped down and will be erased from my memory. Should he publicly apologise?
He ain't gonna. I don't think he'll apologise. No, I don't think he will apologise. I think he said what he thinks. It's come out. Whether he reflects on that interview over the next few days and thinks maybe, you know, he's frustrated after the game, you know, he's not happy being on the bench, and, you know, in hindsight, when you're emotional and you're angry, it's probably not the best time to do an interview. That's when you're meant to go home, relax, forget about it, and then go and have a chat with the manager on Monday, go in there, knock on his door and say, I'm not happy. But to come out and tell the whole world, you know, that he's not happy with how he's being treated, and you know, and I sit there and I think, look, there's two ways to look at it. Salah, I get it, he's a superstar and he's not happy. It's poor from him, but then Arne Slot's got to look at it and how do I deal with this situation? And it just almost creates a massive scrutiny for the football club, and now we'll sit here and talk about it, and we know that there's problems there. And that is the last thing that Liverpool need right now. They need to be together, because everyone can see on the outside from the performances and the results, what's going on at Liverpool, it's not going well. He's just confirmed to everyone that there is problems at that football club.
The phrase he used was, I've been thrown under the bus, right? But do you have a slight sympathy with him when he says, I've been made a scapegoat? Because there are other big players who are not playing as well in this Liverpool side who haven't been dropped, to the likes of Konate. Yeah, I mean, Van Dijk's made some mistakes.
Yeah, Konate's has been terrible this season, but they haven't really got anyone to replace him. And I think sometimes, look, Mo Salah is his goals and the way he performs. You know, if he's scoring goals and he's doing things, we've always questioned if he stops scoring goals and he stops getting assists, what's he bringing to the team? Does he track back? Does he work hard? You know, does he fight? Does he tackle? You know, and there's question marks over whether he's done that. Kanata, yeah, of course, he's not performed well. I don't know if they've got a replacement for him. Salah, he looked at Arne Slot and thought, maybe I need to take him out of the firing line. You know, I don't think Arne Slot expected him to come out and really hammer him. You know, I don't think Arne Slot expected this. You know, I think he thought, I'm going to take him out of the firing line. He's a professional. He'll deal with it like professionals do, and he'll fight his way back into the team. But after 3 games of being sat out, he's come out and done this explosive interview saying he'd been thrown under the bus. He ain't been thrown under the bus. The manager's decided not to pick you. That's his right. And whether that's right or wrong ends up with his job. And Arne Slot has to make that decision. But to say you've been thrown under the bus is absolutely disgusting. It's bang out of order from Mo Salah. And I think in reflection, I think they'll look back and think, I got that wrong.
We're going to talk more about his future and you know, potentially whether he could even leave Liverpool in January or in the summer for the next couple of parts. But let's first of all cross to Liverpool, because they're training later this morning ahead of their Champions League game against Inter Milan tomorrow in Milan. Big game that. At the training ground for us right now is Alan Irwin. Salah is there, isn't he, Alan?
Yeah, I think Liverpool fans around the world have been waiting with bated breath for the next instalment of the Mo Salah saga, shall we call it. Well, the next chapter is unfolding this morning, and Mo Salah is here at Liverpool's training ground. He arrived around about 9:30 this morning, drove in and will take his place amongst the other players who are set to train a little bit later on. His manager, Arne Slot, arrived earlier, around about 8:30 this morning here at Liverpool's training complex. And we now know that Mo Salah was here yesterday as well, following that 3-3 draw with Leeds on Saturday night at Elland Road. Mo Salah was required at the training ground yesterday and did have that warm down session here. So whether he's had that one-to-one meeting that maybe some feel is required with manager Arne Slot remains to be seen, but you would imagine that there are going to be words certainly exchanged this morning, or a meeting between the two before the team head out to Italy this afternoon. And as I say, they do have the training session that takes place here at 11:45 this morning, which we are entitled to film around about 15 minutes of it. So it will be interesting to see whether Mo Salah comes out with Arne Slot. Will they show a united front? Will they have settled their differences? Well, all will be unveiled in around about an hour and a half's time.
Alan, just quickly on yesterday when he had to go to training, was the other players there as well? Was it the whole squad after the Leeds game?
Yeah, we're not exactly sure about that, Jamie, because I think, as you will probably know, those that haven't been involved in actually playing any part in the game are generally required for a session the following day. I know some work is done immediately after the game, but there will have been a session that took place here yesterday. It may well have been that those that were involved were given the day off, but certainly they'll all be here today.
Yeah.
And you've already made some very interesting points, Jamie, and it'll be interesting to see what has happened this morning before they take to the training pitch at 11:45.
Alan, how big a test is this for Arne Slot to have to deal with this big and unwanted issue, really, that's come out of the blue?
Yeah, there's been an awful lot of focus on Liverpool this season as champions, as you would expect, and their defence of the title is going horribly wrong, isn't it? You know, losing that many matches already this season, 6 in total. It's just not good enough, really. And I think Liverpool fans now know that the title is already beyond reach, and even Champions League football is now probably the real sole aim. But Arne Slot could do without this, couldn't he? Because it does appear as though his authority has been undermined by the comments that Mo Salah made, and they were explosive comments from one of Liverpool's greatest ever players. You have to say that. He has delivered, but like Jamie said earlier, he is just one of a squad that's been underperforming throughout the course of this season, and Arne Slot as manager is perfectly entitled to leave a player out and have them on the substitutes bench. as any manager is entitled to do so, but to undermine his authority as Mo Salah has, and to say that the relationship was broken down completely, and sources close to Mo Salah believe that Salah does not want to work with Arne Slot at all, and doesn't see a future at Liverpool while Arne Slot is manager. So there are big problems here in that regard, and big problems that Arne Slot could do without, given Liverpool's current situation on the field.
Yeah, Alan, I've got to ask as well. It's going to be so interesting. I can't wait to see Sky do the training session, because they've got a massive Champions League game tomorrow. And if it wasn't for this explosive interview that you've seen from Salah, I probably would have been a no-brainer to start him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, these 3 games that Salah has been left out of, OK, Liverpool haven't lost any of them, but they've only won 1 and drawn 2. And Salah feels that Liverpool aren't performing any better with him out of the side. And now they go to Inter tomorrow, who are flying high in Serie A. They're top of the league. They've won 4 of their 5 Champions League fixtures so far this season. This is a tough fixture for Liverpool, given their 4-1 defeat in their last Champions League game at home against PSV. Liverpool have got to deliver the goods, and let's face it, they've got to do without Mo Salah anyway for the period of the African Cup of Nations. Now, Arne Slot might have just been preparing for that by leaving Mo Salah out of the side and saying, well, we've got to manage without you during that period, so let me have a look at a few options, see whether the team can perform without you. But Salah sees it very differently indeed, and now it does look as though, having arrived this morning, that he's going to play a part. There was some feeling that he would be disciplined and he wouldn't travel to Milan. Liverpool leave for Milan later this afternoon. But we've seen Salah arriving. It does appear that he's going to be part of the squad and will be over in Milan and will play a part for Liverpool before they play that final Premier League fixture that Salah can play in before he goes to the African Cup of Nations in Morocco, when Liverpool play Brighton at the weekend. He's already said he wants to wave goodbye to the fans before the African Cup of Nations, he added.
Alan, thank you very much. I reckon you're going to have some decent viewing figures for your camera when you're filming that live training session. Looking forward to it. Thanks very much. Right, over the weekend, we asked fans if Salah should leave Liverpool in January. We're going to get into that as well in the next part. 74% of people said yes, by the way. I'm not sure they were all Liverpool fans. Today, we want to know if you think he was right to speak out. You've been getting involved on X by going to @Sky Sports News. At the moment, it's actually quite tight. I mean, 41% of you think Salah was right to speak out. 59% think it was the wrong idea. Keep sending in your votes. We also want you to get involved in the debate with your videos, voice notes and messages. You can send them to us on WhatsApp even, and also use the hashtag Sky Sports FC when you're on socials. Says that Salah is damaging his legacy. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think it's a massive own goal, what he's done. I'm quite disgusted with his attitude, to be brutally honest. He is a legend, has been a legend, will always be a legend at Liverpool. We would not have won the league last season without him. That is, to be sure. However, this is when, as a senior player, you should be standing up for your teammates. Whether you're playing on that pitch or not, you should be in that dressing room, supporting players, helping get the best out of them. And this is exactly what Slot wanted from him when Slot joined the club the beginning last season. It's what he spoke to Mo about. He got the best out of Mo, and now this is what Mo is doing to give back.
He says that he's done enough in his career to not be dropped. Do you think he has enough credit in the bank, or no one has ever done enough to not be dropped, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, anyone who has played sport or followed sport, you've got to be at the top of your game every single training session, every game, whether you're on the bench and when you come off, when you come on and make an impact. He hasn't even done that when he has been brought on. He says that the team are no better without him, while actually we've stopped the losing streak. Yes, it has not been fun watching the team crumble, because that's what it has done this season and has surprised all of us. And at no state is he the only player that is off pace. There's many. However, we needed to find an option while he's off post the Brighton game.
Has he not been a bit of a scapegoat, though? Because you mentioned there, you know, Konate's not played well. He hasn't been dropped. Van Dijk's made mistakes. Others have not been at their best. But why is Salah the one that gets dropped?
But who have we got to replace Konate and Van Dijk? Like, seriously. Whereas we've put Szoboszlai in the right, and it has helped because he works as a team player. He tracks back. He sees where there's gaps. He fills those gaps, and he works if somebody overlaps him. Whereas Mo Salah was given permission to not do it last season, right? And it worked. This season, we can't do that. And he's been told to work harder, to do a harder press, to track back. Has he done that? No.
What would you do now? You've got Inter Milan, massive game coming up, Champions League. Would you let him play? Would you have him in the squad?
So I hope that there is a solution here that doesn't mean Mo Salah leaves in a big puff of smoke in January. You know, he's a legend, and I'd like him to leave properly from the club. And also, we need all the talent we can get right now. You know, the team is in a really, really bad place, and I hope that they can turn this around. I hope that ego gets pushed to the side, and I hope that they can have a man-to-man conversation and sort this out. I do think, though, that it's wider than Slot. I think it's very interesting that he's named Slot sometimes and then been very vague other times. Like, someone wants me to be the scapegoat. Someone has thrown me under the bus, where he's named Slot for other things. Like, Slot has benched me 3 times, first time in my career. So it might be interesting to see what else is going on and how much Slot is controlling this situation or not.
Does he have your unequivocal backing, Arne Slot? Because clearly, if Mo Salah feels confident enough to come out and say this, there is something behind the scenes going wrong, between Salah anyway and the head coach. Are you totally behind Slot?
No, I don't think anyone could be totally behind Slot. At the beginning of the season, absolutely. I think he pulled off a miracle last season. There's not many managers that can take someone else's team, get even more out of them, and win the league like we did last season. However, you know, every fan, you know, on my content channels is telling me that nearly every fan wants Slot out. They think he's lost the dressing room. And until Mo came out like this is kind of proof that he is losing that dressing room. I don't know how much of it
if they can't sort this out between the pair of them, and there had to be an ultimatum, Salah or Slot, who comes out on top for you? Who would you rather have?
So I think that's a difficult... If it was Mo a few years ago, I probably would say Mo.
But what about now?
But now I think if we sack Slot now, I feel like we're out the Champions League. We might be middle of the table or worse. I feel like it would be more of a disruption. I'm hoping that the results are going to be good enough so that in January we can do things like get Mark Gay. That has been a massive own goal from the club. That we do, you know, some of the players that we are.
You haven't answered the question. Slot or Salah?
Slot. Like, for all of Mo's greatness, and there's a lot of it, he is the most selfish, infuriating player I have ever seen in a Liverpool shirt.
Wow.
I'm very much the Hendos, the Firminos, the Szoboszlais that work really hard for a team, and if they see someone struggling, they're tracking back. If they lose a ball, they're getting that ball back, or they're forcing a foul, whatever. We cannot carry anyone at the moment, and that is what we've been doing.
He carried all them though, Salah. He carried them.
He didn't carry everyone.
He did.
Did he?
He did. Without him, you would have won nothing.
he came in with the numbers, absolutely, but he would have been nothing without Firmino and Mane for some part. He would have been nothing without Jota and Diaz last season and Trent. You know, if Trent was still here, we probably still would be getting the best out of Mo.
Yeah.
But that gap, I think if we're going to accuse Slot of anything, I think he massively underestimated the impact losing Trent would be for the team and for Mo Salah in particular.
Sarah, great call as ever. Really appreciate all your views.
Thanks,
Speak
Sarah.
to you again very, very soon. If you've got a choice between Arne Slot and Mo Salah, who are you choosing?
I think, well, I don't know. Jamie's going to throw me under the bus here, isn't he?
Go on, I'm interested. Genuinely, I'm interested to know what you think.
I think, first of all, Mohamed Salah shouldn't have come out and said what he said. It should have been a public spat, basically. But I do think something's gone on behind the scenes. And I do think the transfer policy in the summer has absolutely stitched Mohamed Salah up. And I think that's what he's referring to about being thrown under the bus. If you look now, that those footballers can't play together. We've been saying it on and off these shows for the last few months. Now this Liverpool board are looking at Mohamed Salah. He's the oldest. He's on the highest wages. And it's sort of like, well, do you know what? Let's make a system about him and get some money for him in January. So everything that he said, it's very emotive. It's very emotional. Yeah, he shouldn't have said it. But I don't think life's black and white. And I've got some sympathy for Mohamed Salah. But I think Salah's gone anyway, so I don't need to choose. I think Mohamed Salah made this decision to leave the football club. And I don't think Arne Slot is in a great situation, regardless of what's happened with Salah. I just want to touch on what the previous Liverpool fan said, because I can't possibly go and ignore what she just said, that he's the most selfish footballer. He's given everything to this football club. He has been a fantastic servant for 9 years. He's been the top goal scorer for 9 years. He's got playmaker assists, playmaker of the season on 2 different occasions. I think only Kevin De Bruyne has bettered that or equalled that. He has been instrumental. And to say that he wouldn't be the player without the players around him, yeah, that's because it's a team game. But the Liverpool Football Club would not be anywhere near the level they've been over the last 9 years without Mohamed Salah. So let's get that one straight.
And also, I mean, as you say there, like, he has caused issues before, hasn't he? He's rowed with Jurgen Klopp. He's done explosive interviews before in the mix zone. Do you not therefore think that there could be a way back for him here? Like, there is a way of repairing this. I don't know what it is, but there is possibly a way back. You seem resigned that he's going to go in January.
I see it's resigned because if Sky made your job redundant and he said for you to sit in the corner and work your way back into the studio, but you're thinking to yourself, well, my position's now redundant. So Liverpool are now currently not really playing with that right forward. They're getting through the next few months. So I feel like that's what he's thinking, that he's being forced out. So that's my understanding of the situation.
He's missed 3 games. Do you know, like, he probably would have played against Inter Milan. I'm sure Arne Slot probably would have started him in this game. Don't you think he's thrown his toys out the pram a little bit too early? Like, he ain't been performing well. The manager taking him out the firing line. Maybe he needed a bit of a rest. And then he gets a result, goes, you know what, I'm going to keep with it. I think he's jumped at this opportunity to really come in 2-footed on Liverpool, when really I just thought...
But he must know something that we don't know, Jamie. That's the only thing. He refers to promises in the summer, and I just think Mohamed Salah, you've got to remember, right, he was absolutely unreal last season. You could argue it without him, Liverpool do not win the Premier League. So he signed a new contract in the summer, and he was promised, he was given assurances, and everyone will be saying, you can't start every game. I get all that.
But what promises?
So I'll touch upon that now. So that he will be integral to this team. And he's seen now what...
Integral.
Integral.
He'll be integral to this team. It's not the fact that he can't be dropped is the problem. It's like what I've just referred to. There isn't a position for him to play now, and I think he's been forced out with some underhand tactics. My biggest thing now, my biggest gripe is that Arne Slot is getting a lot of the blame and Mohamed Salah is getting a lot of the blame. But Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes got all the credit for signing these footballers. I'm giving Mohamed Salah and giving Virgil van Dijk a new contract in the summer, but no one is pointing the blame on them, and they've got a lot to answer for. And I think that's what Mohamed Salah is referring to when he says someone in this football club wants me out. And I think that's where it all boils down to.
Would they give him a new contract if they wanted him out? I mean, what are they paying him? 400 grand a week?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's where they've made the mistake. So I think they've made the mistake in the transfer market. And in hindsight now, they're thinking, we can't get all of these footballers to work together. So what are we going to do? Because we're not going to get rid of Florian Wirtz. We're not going to get rid of Ekitike. And just on the whole form thing as well, his stats this season are nowhere near as bad as everyone thinks they are. There's only Ekitike who's a higher goal scorer than him.
4 goals, 3 assists.
So if you were saying to me now, Jamie, play Ekitike or Salah, I'm playing Ekitike, I get that. But everyone else around them are just simply not good enough. Cody Gakpo.
No, I agree.
Liverpool, yeah.
I agree with you.
He's still playing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just Salah. That's the problem. It's the way the team's playing. But I don't think Liverpool want to get rid of Salah because they're changing the way. I think they're just trying to figure out what the best team is and how it all works. And Salah hasn't performed.
Yeah. Before we let Peter go, I just want to ask him this, because last week you were on the show and you were asked how many points minimum Liverpool have to get before Arne Slot comes under a bit of pressure. I think you said 7 points from the West Ham, Sunderland and Leeds games. They got 5 in the end. So is Arne Slot under that kind of pressure now?
I think he's got 2 games to save his job. I think that's got nothing to do with Mohamed Salah. If Liverpool lose against Inter Milan on Tuesday, they don't finish in the top 8 of the Champions League, which means 2 extra games. And if they even draw against Brighton after losing against Inter, I think he's sacked, yeah.
Jeez. Oh, wow, big call. All right, we'll leave it on that. Peter, great to talk to you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.